And then I don't know what happens. I think there's a hocus pocus belief, the thing that, the source fixes things. People say, I'm not the doer. So therefore, when source wants things to work different, source will do it. That kind of thing, You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Is that correct, or is that dangerous, or is that... I mean, the danger, if anything, is a disengagement, no?
Yes. Yeah, I don't think it's time for disengagement anymore. I think that might have been okay some time ago, but I feel like everything's too... the changes that are happening in on the planet at the moment are so radical that it needs us to engage in some way and try and look for solutions. So those solutions, however, are only going to really come out of moments of stillness. So you can have your eureka moment. So it's again this being able to step back from everything, and then the answer may actually...
No, but I mean, let's get clear, because I mean, I can interpret that in many ways. But okay, you go into stillness, and then you get a eureka moment, and then that's the blueprint. You get a blueprint, and then you go out, and you get your hammer and nails, and you start following that blueprint, and you build your house, right? Like that, or no? I mean, or what?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully you get a moment of clarity where it's really clear what you can do.
Well, I was getting this inspiration just lately, is that what the main thing you can do is to pay attention.
Yeah.
Because if you're not paying attention, I mean, then really there's no energy, there's nothing of you in it. And that is a disengagement and kind of a denial. There's a lot of denial in spirituality. Is there?
Well, I don't think I'd really call it denial. I think I'd call it a sort of laissez-faire, allowing what is to be there, and staying. People look at the really big picture of, well, even if the whole of the earth is destroyed, it doesn't, in the big picture, it doesn't matter. It's just one out of another.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't mind saying that the big picture is total BS. That is really the biggest whopper I've ever heard about, the big picture. What about, where's the big picture? I mean, there's not even a humanity. There's only humans. Anything collective is just a theory. Or it's just a convenience, it's just a word, there's no such thing as a herd of sheep. There's only sheep.
But then on the other side you could say that, every electron within us is resonating with every other electron and everyone else. We are all one, just to take it up on a sideline.
And that sure doesn't do anything either, does it? It's totally, totally weightless.
No, I think if we don't really grasp that yet, we haven't really grasped in our everyday... We still believe we're all separate.
Well, I believe is our experience. Now, I don't know. Am I getting too argumentative,
no, I think it's our
or
conditioning. We're in a Descartesian conditioning where we think, I think, therefore I am, and that there's some kind of your thoughts and my thoughts, and it's all separate. But if we can really grasp that at the very essence of our being, our physical being, that we are the same pulse of energy moving, then, and that a starving woman in Bangladesh does affect the banker on Wall Street, that it does directly affect. If we can really get that deeply.
Yeah, but I don't think you can get it at all by saying it. The getting it probably is from something totally different.
Yeah.
And then I think the saying it is just makes us a bunch of automatons. We just are parroting. Parroting. We parrot stuff instead of really live it.
Yeah, I think it can go either way. I mean, it's very much our conditioning to look out for yourself and make sure you're okay. And if it was deeply understood, just brought in the schools at an early age in our whole conditioning, that could shift, that we could actually get that everyone is affecting, everything is affecting everything else. Every living being is affected by every other living thing, whether it be bacteria or plants or fish or whatever. We're all affecting each other.
Well, that I say that it could be.
Mm.
I say that it could be.
Mm.
But the problem is we don't pay attention. And the way we don't pay attention is we make an interpretation and we pay attention to that interpretation. So that cuts us off, because if we see something that's painful or unjust and we feel it, like you say, that could be the oneness part, like we can resonate with each other. But we can interpret it and say, they deserve it, they deserve it. 3 words can totally insulate us from whatever pain we feel, right? And so then,
but that you can only say they deserve it if you think that they're separate from you and they're nothing to, that...
Well, I mean, the part of that's not separate is the feeling.
Everybody is a pure being. When every baby is born, they're born clear, and then it's only the environmental circumstances that create somebody who's a serious criminal in some way. So no one deserves it. Everyone's just
I don't know that. I don't have kids, but I've heard people say that with multiple, that have several kids, and they say they're indifferent as night and day from the day they were born. No, I didn't have any children, so I don't know that for a fact. But then if they're different as night and day, I mean, they have a different personality and a different, it's not only the conditioning, because it's just something that, some kind of a tension that they were born into, some kind of a tension that felt some push, right, that was different, right? I mean, that's the report anyhow of, mothers. There's lots of mothers around, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think it's a combination of both, but at the same time, if somebody is nurtured and loved and has all their basic requirements taken care of, then they're not actually going to start. They might be different in their personalities, but one of them isn't going to be a mass murderer. I think that's the difference. There can be, of course, as many different varieties as there are people on the planet, but basically man is good.
Yeah, me too. I think that, lately I've been thinking that if everyone had really a creative outlet for their energy, there would be no even addictions. I mean, but it's so frustrating. I lived in Italy for a decade, and so then as a second, I was a foreigner, and the big American is not all he's cracked up to be. Let's say I was always underemployed, and so I can feel for people that don't really have a beautiful outlet for their energy where they can make a difference and do the best they can. And then then there's a lot of belief structures in place that says if I withhold, that hurts the other. Instead of not too many people turn around and say if I withhold, that hurts me. Lately when they say things like anger is a poison you take, thinking that it's going to kill the other, that kind of a deal. But no, we don't teach that. And then you said in the schools, we could teach that we're all one, but I mean it could be real easy just to mix the ages instead of stratify the ages. And then the whole thing of mentoring could come in, because you could say, well, there's someone that's 4 years younger than me, I can show them. I felt bad when I was a freshman too, and I could show them some of the ropes, and and then there would be a whole body of knowledge that wouldn't even be held in the school. It would be in the student body, because what I learned through 4 years, I could maybe pass it in 2 years to a freshman and a sophomore, let's say. I don't know if you have that in England, those same kind of grade structures, but for instance. And then they would pass the same thing to younger. With mentoring, I'm saying that there would be a whole living body of knowledge and a living body of responsibility and a living body of of community that wouldn't be in any book, or the teachers wouldn't know how to even apply it, you know. It would just be something that was in the student body and in the school, but I don't know.
That sounds good. That's an alternative, yeah. But the whole schooling system probably needs to change. Now we've got such access to the internet, there's no need to actually, you know, learn rote learning of facts anymore, because you're just going to access
just
it.
Learn how to Google stuff, right?
Yeah. So then there's a lot, frees up actually schooling to teach kids a lot more about, you know, how you earn money, how you relate, how you value yourself, how you recognize that you are not separate from those around you, and so on. It's going to need a whole new training of the teachers. So it's probably a generational thing, but it'll come in, you know, as it becomes.
But I mean, is that what we're trying to do? Is build a school out of spirituality, where we're trying to teach people that they're not separate from others?
Well, I think we're trying to teach kids to have.
No, I mean adults, even just spirituality.
Yeah, I mean, spirituality is a dangerous word, but just to be a good human, moral.
Well, let's just say a good word then. What's a good word? Could we just say wisdom teaching?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there isn't any, at the moment it's just focused on learning facts. There isn't any wisdom teaching, really. So
Are you still talking in school?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, but what about what we're doing, let's just say, and what we've done so long? Going to satsang, being a seeker and all that stuff. In a way we're in a school, right? What are we doing?
Giving ourselves time just to be quiet and take time out from our busy minds, so we get a chance to see beyond that.
Is that enough?
It's a help, isn't it?
I guess we could go out and get votes, you know, say, were you helped by the last 10 years? You know, but people get more and more frantic too. I don't know what it helps, you know. Sometimes they get totally dissatisfied with regular, everyday life. Right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to say about that. Talking about the evolution of consciousness, we've started out as, you know, Homo erectus and Homo sapiens, these primitive men, and there clearly is an evolution that's going on. So recently they started calling it Homo sapiens sapien. But I like Barbara Marx Hubbard's expression, which is we're coming into Homo universalis. How does she say? Universalis. And then various different masters have talked in different ways. Teilhard de Chardin called it Homo progressivus, and Sri Aurobindo Gnostic humans, and John White Homo noeticus. So there's this awareness that this kind of quantum transformation happening of the human species, that it isn't just a Darwinian clean pattern of gradual evolution, but actually makes huge leaps and bounds. So instead of going on a clear path, a steady path, it goes exponentially every now and then. And it seems like when we're looking at a lot of the different traditional societies like the Mayans and the Hopis, and when we look at the all sorts of traditional religions, they're saying that there would come a time when there could be a very quick evolution in consciousness. So I think that is now, really, is